All right, try this one more time. There we go. Say peace, peace, love, light to you all. May all be well with everyone. May all be well with your loved ones, with, again, your everyday living. You know, hope everyone that is working a 9 to 5 is securing their 9 to 5. All the entrepreneurs are being successful, and you know, hope within this time of financial sabotage that you are able to still secure and provide for your family. If not, may the Most High guide you to being secure and being able to provide for your family. And just may you all be in good health also, right? So I say love and light to you all. Now, I was gathering some information for past week for a live to do, and for the introduction of the podcast with the whole staff. But yesterday I had a conversation, and day before yesterday I had a conversation with some loved ones, and it was just riding me today. So I said, all right, let's touch on it. Right, Grand Rising, Maven Omega, Young Cherokee Peasy, Kimberly Tolliver. Peace, peace to you all. Welcome. And we're going to break down something very simple, right? Because, not because you're what we call woke, that doesn't mean that your family members or people who you call friends are the same, okay? And the more you have conversations with some of them, you realize is that it's not that they don't understand or understand what's happening, is that they are too afraid to dig deep, to unlock the information. They don't want to know it. It's too much for them to handle. And I can respect that, for them to admit that. But where the line draws is when they try to get you to fall for their ideology, when your intellect is far superior to theirs. I had to tell I told my cousin-in-law and my mother that the other day. I said, yo, we could no longer have these conversations because my intellect is far superior to yours. So it don't make no sense to even have this conversation, to hurt up my head, to argue with people over things that all they're going to do is tell you that's your information. You made it up to soothe themselves or to be comfortable in the skin that they're in, because they don't want to see what's really going on out there. But where I draw the line also is where people try to tell me that there's a race war coming, and that for 400 years, Negroes has been oppressed. Now, if this was like 5 years ago, not even 6 years ago, because like my first year and a half of my channel, I was talking like that same talk. I would have probably been on that same wave bandwagon. But it doesn't make any sense the more you look back in history, right? It first started off as a Trump conversation. Oh, can't wait till he's out of office. Oh, he's finally out. Now Biden is going to fix it. Fix what is Biden going to fix? Biden's going to fix what? Trump broke everything. What did Trump broke that wasn't broke before he became president? You see what I'm saying? Oh, now there's going to be a race war. They're pushing for a race war, but not one Klan member marched in any Negro neighborhood, nor did they go and burn down any buildings in Negro neighborhoods, because you don't own anything. You can't sit here and push race war talk and then go to work the next day and punch in your 9 to 5 job to your Caucasian boss. Then why did he hire you if he wanted to eliminate you? It makes no sense what these people are talking, right? 400 years you've been oppressed, but for 400, but if you go back in that 400 years, the very first president of the United States was John Henson. And people who do their proper research will see that he was a full-blown Negro man, an American Indian. Well, what they call an American Indian. 1773, 1772, 1773, almost half the Senate was Negro. Founders of the Republican Party were Negroes. So you can't sit here and tell me for 400 years Negroes has been so oppressed and there's been this race war about to start. It's always about to start for 400 years and never started. Huh? And when you tell them Negroes founded the Republican Party, well, so why are they Democrats now? You're missing the point. You told me that for 400 years we've been oppressed. So I'm asking you, all those Negro senators back in 1773, supposedly the height of slavery, who voted them into office? Who? Who built Weeksville Village? Who? Who invented the peanut crop, peanut butter, and these things? Who? Peanut oil. Who? Who created these surgical tools that we're using today? Who? You see what I'm saying? It comes to a point where people have to know what they're talking about before they open their mouth. And when you start throwing those things out at them, they go, well, so you don't believe in slavery? You trying to say slavery never happened? Well, I can't see with you on that because my ancestors weren't slaves. And then if you want me to agree with you on this slavery narrative, you're trying to have me agree on this transatlantic slave trade. But my ancestors, you see how I keep it? I keep it to me. I don't say our, me, my ancestors. They weren't slaves. They weren't a part of the transatlantic slave trade. They weren't Africans. They were Negro Irish and Arawak. People today who they now call Maroons and Zamakans and Jamaicans and so on and so. This is who they are. And a multitude of other things, but no African. So I can't say and agree with you on the slavery narrative neither, because it's not in my family history. You see how that worked? This is how you kill a fearmonger's point of view. Well, they stormed the Capitol and they want to make us slaves again. You're a slave right now to the system. You're a voluntary slave to the system. You have the District of Columbia, and then you have the United States for America. You are a slave to the District of Columbia, which is the United States Corporation. because you agreed to contract with them every single day. That's it. Those folks that went and lobbied at the Capitol, okay, they know what they're doing. They went to lobby. You know why they went to lobby? Because at first they protested. And when their voice, their documents were ignored, the law states that they're allowed to go up to that Capitol and lobby. Do you know why they're allowed to do so? Because the Capitol building is a public building. There is no, you can't come in here. There is no, there's the Senate and the Congress is in a meeting right now. You can't go in it. You're supposed to go in it because they're public servants. So you're supposed to go in there and sit down. And if you hear them talk about or mention a topic you don't agree with, you're supposed to object to it. When they try to bar your way from getting in there, that is illegal. It's against the law. For all you Negroes that's talking about, look at them. Look how they stormed the Capitol. And if that was us, what they would have done to us. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Ignorance of the law, ignorance of history, ignorance of documentations is no excuse. None. You could simply go research all of this stuff. And to protest, you must properly know what a protest is. Protest is when you put your stuff on paper and send it in. It's not going in the streets, flipping over police cars, burning down buildings, gay people walking in front of police officers, bending over, shaking their ass. That's not a protest. That's a clown show. When those Caucasian people protest, they deal with documents. And it's not, they follow the protocol, the procedure, and it's ignored. Then they go and lobby. You see, the news can say, oh, they were protesting because you guys turned protesting into a clown show, into something where they could expect some form of violence coming up out of it. So now there's a negative connotation to it. Right? But when you're telling me them storming the Capitol means there's going to be a race war, they didn't storm the ghettos of DC. They didn't storm Brooklyn, New York. They didn't storm the Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Flatbush, East New York, the 90s in Brooklyn. They didn't storm those places. They didn't storm Fordham, White Plains in the Bronx, Mount Vernon. They didn't storm those places. They didn't storm Harlem. They didn't storm those places. Southside Jamaica, Queens. And this is for New Yorkers. Because New Yorkers is talking this dumb shit. They didn't storm your neighborhood. They didn't go in your neighborhood and saying down with black people. They stormed the Capitol saying respect our constitutional rights. They were defending the law. And if it wasn't for those people on multiple occasions that went and stormed their local state capitol buildings, the country would have been on an all-out full shutdown. And you'd have been shitting bricks right now. You wouldn't even be able to leave your apartment. Because that's what was about to happen. Because your governors and your mayors is running on tyrannical rules. Now you hear one and two of them saying, constitutionally, we can't do that. But they were doing that until those people went up to the Capitol, open carrying up to that building with their guns. I'm not telling people to go do these things. I'm just pointing out something that took place. They never came into your neighborhoods. How could you say it's going to be a race war and Biden is going to fix it? Fix what? It is your lack of knowledge is why you're in the situation you're in today. It is your unwillingness to go research, to do things on your own. It is you sitting down waiting for a savior. You're talking about a race war, but you're waiting for this Caucasian man to come save you. You sound stupid. You look stupid. Then when you kill all their talking points, they say, oh, but he's gonna push equality for everybody. The man that came out on national television and told the world that he's a goddamn Zionist is gonna push equality for everybody. So I said, there's no such thing as equality. You should have seen the eyes when they looked at me. I said, I damn sure know that I'm better than a hell of a lot of people out there. And there's people out there that are better than me. I looked at my mother. I said, you're my mother. I'm your son. There's no way in hell we can be equal. I don't have a vagina. I have a cock. You understand? I'm a grown-ass man. You understand? If I am great in basketball and you are great in baseball, and I've never played baseball and you've never played basketball, we're not equal. So then my cousin-in-law tried to flip it. She said, well, he's going to push equality of the law. I said, what do you mean? Well, the law only goes for them. It don't go for us. I said, you know why they mess with these people less than how they mess with you? Because chances are they have a mother or a father that's some kind of a high supreme judge, a lawyer, a banker, a high-profile doctor. You understand? They're educated from young to go for high-profile job positions. They're not educated from young to to depend on a ball to make their life. In India, it's not a surprise when you have a 13 and a 14-year-old surgeon. It's not a surprise because that's what's expected. The grandparent teaches their child have a children, they teach their child, and that's what they push in their head to be great from a very young age. So when you have 13 and 14-year-old doctors in India, and when you look at the news here, you see 13 and 14-year-olds gang banging or beating the hell out of one person in McDonald's and stuff all over social media of our people. There's a big goddamn difference. You understand? So don't sit here and tell me or preach to me about equality when you don't practice it yourself. And then if you talk about equality of the law, ignorance of not knowing law, ignorance of worshiping corporate statues and not actual law is what get our people in the situation that they're in. That's it. I use myself as an example for my couple court cases and these things and how I beat every single one of them. And even though I'm a success story of using law to beat my cases, they still look at me and tell me that's my information. So you don't want the remedy. You don't want the cure. No, you don't want the prevention. You want someone to come and do. Like, one of the things that was said was, well, why should we have to know it? Why should we have to know it? Why should you have to know the law when they're supposed to just tell you? If it's my job to put you in prison, why the fuck would I tell you how to make me not put you in prison? Why would I tell you that? You see the laziness? Straight laziness. You understand? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, there's no form of racism in these things out there. Those things are out there. But why are they out there? They're out there to create a distraction. They're out there as one organized gimmick. That's why they're out there. To keep you away from the true light of information. That's why. Like, let me show y'all something. Let's let me do this real quick. Let's look up the definition of protest and let's see something. All right. And then I think we're gonna look into lobbying also as well. Give me 1 second here. And then let me get the Bouvier dictionary up as well. Right? Because when you beat all talking points about that whole Capitol, the march on the Capitol, storming the Capitol. So I said the Capitol has been stormed many times throughout the years. The 50s, 60s, 80s, probably the 90s. They ignored all the other years and they only wanted to see the one in the 90s. You know why? Because it's more recent. So that they could say, see, it never happened. Right? Missing the whole point. This is the mindset of the people that we're dealing with today. And this is why we should not go too deep in conversations with them when you see it going like that. And learn. Because you're just going to give yourself a headache. Now, let me see if I see protests in the Bouviers here. Give me 1 second, y'all. Trying to see if I find it in here. Then I'm going to hit the screen share so you guys can see. Okay. Proclaim, prohibition, promises, property, protest. All right. Oh, it's a few definitions for it. All right. So let's start off with protest. Let me hit the screen share. And Jones, honor to you. Copper Hot Step, Cherokee Tulu, honor sis, honor brother, honor. Mama Red, honor to you, honor. Let's hit the screen share. All right. So this is the Bouviers. For those who don't have this dictionary, I'm going to give you guys a link to the website that I use for this. All right. Give me 1 second here. Let me get the link for y'all first. Put it in the chat. All right. There's the link right there. You see, there's a proper way to do things. If you have a problem, a situation, and you see your senator or your congressman on the street, and you go up to them and you tell them your problem. Hear me out, and I need y'all to understand this. You go up to them and you tell them your problem. You didn't put it on paper, none of that. Or you did have it on paper and you went up to them and you handed them the paper. They're not in that building. So they're not in that official capacity once they're not in that building, in their office. You understand? Between business hours. Because I'm pretty sure that they have business hours. Okay? Just like the IRS. From 8 to 4:30, sometimes 5 o'clock, is the IRS's business hours. Understand? You see a sheriff on the street and he's off duty, not wearing that badge. Okay? So when you're walking up to these people on the street and you're screaming and you're shouting, they hear you, but they're not going to do anything because they're not yet in the official capacity until they clock in. And until you put it on paper and it's in their hands in the building, until you register or certify mail it to them. That is your protest. A protest is supposed to be on documentation. Now, when it's ignored, then you lobby. That's when you get up, your signs, whatever it is that you want to put on your cardboard or whatever, and you go down to the Capitol. You go down to the mayor's office, the governor's mansion, so on and so. You don't take to the streets and destroy shit. Why do you go down to these places? Because they're public officials and the buildings are public buildings. You're not supposed to be barred from it. That's in your Constitution. Now, let's see. 1 second, Charles. Give me a second here. Let me pull this thing up here. Okay. So, first definition of protest. A writing attested by a justice of the peace or a council drawn by the master of a vessel, stating the severity of a voyage by which a ship has suffered and showing it was not owing to the neglect or misconduct of the master. Let's go into 2. Legislation. A declaration made by one or more members of a legislative body that they do not agree with some act or resolution of the body. It is usual to add the reasons which a protestant have for such a dissent. Now, pay attention, because this is going to go right into the COVID thing. I'm going to show you how smart they are when they shut you all down. You've seen many live streams of governors and mayors going live from the governor's mansions and city halls, right? Now, those interviews are public hearings, but no member of the public was there. It was only reporters that was handpicked by the office that was there. Why is that? Because they took away your constitutional right to be there by pushing this pandemic stuff in election year. You see how that works? You see how that works? So when they're telling you here, legislation, a declaration made by one or more members of a legislative body that they do not agree with some act or resolution of the body, it is usually added It is usual to add the reasons which the protestant have for such a dissent. Meaning, if you don't agree with a bill or something that they're trying to pass, because they always tell you about the bill before they even put it through. They have to make it public. Okay? Something that they're trying to pass as law or some form of code, right? You're supposed to know about it. That means you could protest, write up your document, your letter, your statement, whatever, mail it in and send it in to them. Because you as the people who vote these peoples into office, you're a part of the legislative body. You're a part of the judicial body. You understand? You are a part of all of this process. Okay? Your energies into this. So you're supposed to let yourself be heard. Push through the paperwork, documentations. That don't work. You're supposed to go down when they having a hearing on that bill, on that document. Hear what they're saying amongst each other, and then put in your 2 cents as well. This is why city halls usually used to have city hall meetings where you could go down there and voice yourself. Okay? But not enough people go to those things. You see that? This is how it works. Okay? It doesn't work with you writing a cardboard sign. All you're doing is screaming and shouting in the street. They hear you, but they're not going to act on anything because you haven't come to them the proper way of how they're supposed to do it. You didn't push through the paperwork. So they can say, well, I didn't watch TV, so I don't know what's going on out there. Let's go into the other definition of protest. Contracts, a notarial act made for want of payment of a promissory note or for want of acceptance of payment of a bill of exchange by a notary public, in which it is declared that all parties to such instruments will be held responsible to the holder for all damages, exchanges, re-exchanges, etc. There are two kinds of protest, namely protest for non-acceptance, if you have an issue with something, and protest for non-payment. When a protest is made and notice of the non-payment or non-acceptance given to the parties in proper time, they will be held responsible. 3. There is also there is also a species of protest common in England, which is called protest for better security. It may be made when a merchant who has accepted a bill becomes insolvent or is publicly reported to have failed in his credit or absence himself from change before the bill he has accepted becomes due, or when the holder has any just reason to suppose it will be paid, and on demand the acceptor refuses to give it. See, so all y'all folks that's looking into sovereignty and these things, or to being separate from the corporation, understand what these things are saying. You understand? Let's see what it says here on the etymology site on Etym Online. Right? So Yeah, I keep listening. Yeah, I keep following that whole pro-black community, man. And they've been doing this shit the same way for how many hundreds of years, and ain't nothing has changed that they've been doing. Okay. So before I ever get into this right here, another part of the conversation was, oh, you know, Biden is going to make sure that they have their own. But you had your own, and you sold it. And every time you get your own, you sell it for quick money. If you're a musician in the music industry, you sign away your rights to your royalties for the upfront money that you're about to get. Dumb decisions like that, right? People want to say, oh, well, we sat at the back of the bus, but it's their bus. It's not your bus. It's their bus. You had your bus. And this is a part of the Garvey thing that I do agree with, when he had the Black Star Line, ships and buses. You had your buses. But what happened? Another Negro sold out the whole thing. Other Negroes sold out the whole thing, disbarred it, dismantled it, destroyed it. And there goes the bus line. It went. There goes the boat line. It went. And what happened? You had to turn to the other people that you claim want to start a race war with you, and you had to ride their bus. And their rules were, well, our people stayed to the front, your people stayed to the back. It's their shit. It's not yours. It's theirs. Protest. And this is the etymonline.com. This is the etymology website. A vowel, pledge, solemn declaration. From Old French, protest. From protester. From Latin, protestare. Declare publicly. Testify. Protest. From pro force, before. Testary, testify. Testis. Witness. Testament. Meaning, statement of disapproval is recorded by 1751 by late 19th century. This was mostly restricted to a solemn or formal declaration against some act or course of action. Right? So lack of knowledge started depleting the true meaning of this word. The adjectival sense of expressing of dissent from or rejection of prevailing social, political, or cultural mores is by 1942 in reference to U.S. civil rights movement. Where are we? In parentheses has protest, in protest march, practical protest rally from 1960s. Now, it's showing you where, because of, again, lack of knowledge, the true meaning of the word started becoming watered down and changed in what is now called modern times in the public's eye. But as you can see, when you go into a law dictionary, it still means what it meant in the 1700s. Okay? So you see, you're having sort of like two different definitions here. Okay? In the legalese, you see clear as day. All right? And in here, you see where there's a joinder of the two, of the modern and what they call the old definitions. Now, I want to go back to here, where it says, meaning statement disapproval is recorded by 1751. So again, this is where the public record comes in place. This is where you use these offices. You use your office to their office. Okay? If you're the executor for your estate in these things, then you're going to go into your executorship role and defend your office. You're going to write your notices, your letters from your office to their office, addressing their office of an issue that you have. That is a protest. And you're going to properly do it via through registered or certified mail with your signature, your autograph, your mark, your seal, all these things on your document, and send it into them. This is it. Where was we now? Now we were here. Is by 1942 the reference to U.S. civil rights movement. All right. Protest rally from 1960. And they don't and see where it became a rally, so it became something of a cry in the streets during Dr. King's civil rights era. Okay, that's when this is how you are tricked and used. All right, to reset, to make a change of something that should have never been changed, but behind closed doors in the private, it's still being used in the old term. But you're using it in its commercial capacity, so it doesn't go for you. There's no effect coming from it when you do it in its commercial capacity, because you're doing it wrong. Because they need you in the streets to create a distraction. All right. So protest, vote, cast to demonstrate dissatisfaction with the choice of candidates or the current system is by 1905. You see that? So every time you go cast your vote, which is documentation, paperwork, you're protesting against the previous person that was in position, that was in office. You see? This is how you properly protest. All right, I'm gonna give y'all the link to this here. It's just simple, folks. It's simple. Now, let's see if we could pull up lobbying or lobbyist. Let's see. Lobby. Let's try lobby first. Let's see. Lobby. Cloister, covered walk. From medieval Latin, labia. Covered walk in a monastery. From Germanic source. Uh, compared Old High German, luba, hall, roof, sea, lodge. Meaning large entrance hall in a public building. Are you hearing me? In a public building. Is from 1590s in reference to the House of Commons from 1630s, political sense of those who seek to influence legislation is attested by 1790s in American English in reference to the custom of influence seekers gathering in the large entrance halls outside legislative chambers. That's what you saw going on. So, and those people were going in the Capitol building, the Capitol security guards and these folks were not supposed to interfere with them. But because the whole thing is to take away these rights, your constitutional rights, the same Antifa and Black Lives Matter people had agents in the crowd that started acting physical with the guards, okay? Because they needed to mark that movement as violent and as dangerous so that they can vote to overturn the Constitution. Yeah, you need to pay attention because more than half the dudes that they showed that was committing violent acts are married to Black females. And that's a fact. They're married to black females. Then you see them in pictures supporting the Black Lives Matter rally and protests. So how are these folks supporting Black Lives Matter, but then at the same time, with all these Caucasian folks going up to the state, lobbying at the state capitol, huh? It's supposed to be trying to start a race war, but their wife is a Negro and their children is biracial. Come on, man. Stop falling for the okie doke here. So like I said, lobbying. You're supposed to go down to these Capitol buildings because they're public buildings. You're supposed to go down to the governor's mansion. You're supposed to go down to City Hall. When every time your mayor says, "Well, we're about to pass this bill," right? You're supposed to go down there in mass numbers if you don't agree with it and stop it. And they're supposed to stop it because they're public servants. They serve you. That's lobby. I'm going to give y'all the link to that as well. Now, let's see what lobbyist is. American English lobby in the political sense, ist plus ist. Strong lobbyist will permit himself to lose heavily at the poker table under the assumption that the great congressman who wins the stake will look leniently upon the little appropriation he means to ask for. That's it. There you go. That is it. Where else? It says George A. Townsend event at the National Capitol and the campaign of 1876, Hartford. It's a lobbyist. Okay. Now let me see if I can pull up something else here. Give me 1 second. Hold on. All right, give me 1 second. Let's see. Let's see if we see these images. Now, let's screen share. Let's screen share. I want people to pay attention because this ain't nothing new. You see this? Vietnam War protest movement, right? You see this. Look at this picture. This is your state capital. Okay? You see that? And look who's been leading the way for that protest. Look at the skin tone people that they're showing. What these people figured out is that they have to formulate societies to stick together just in case when this whole thing crumbles and they're looking to come take away your constitutional rights. how they're going to be self-sufficient and survive. Our people are not quite there yet. Few of us are there. Majority of us are not there. We're still in the streets screaming and shouting, right? Here, march and protest in Washington. Look, so this is not the first time in history. They all up on the gates. You see that? They all everywhere. You don't see no FBI agents. You don't see no security staff. No one coming to remove them. Do you know why? Because it's the law. They can do that. These are public places. That's why they even have tours on the White House. Pay attention. Like a picture is more than 1,000 words. Look, this is history. History. Now, when you have what is called a peaceful protest. Now, even in the law, it states if your government has gone tyrant, well, y'all read the Constitution, you'll see what it says. Look, this is 2011 Wisconsin protest. Look at this. You see that? Because it's law. They're supposed to do this. This is how you get your voice out there. This is after you've punched and put in so many documentations and paperwork. This is when it goes to this level here. Okay? But you're supposed to go when they're pushing through these, when they're trying to push through these bills so that they see your faces that you don't want the bill to go through. And your voice is more than their voice because they're hired to represent you. So if you're there telling them, yo, we don't want that, they're supposed to squash that bill. And this is a Black Lives Matter thing right here. Another. Another. And this is a mixed crowd here. See this? For civil rights, plus full employment, equal freedom. Look, you fought to be in their system. You're indigenous. You're not supposed to be a part of this system. You understand? You're indigenous. You gave away your indigenous identity to become a third class to a fifth class citizen of a corporation on the District of Columbia. When you did so, you gave up your lands. You gave up your freedom. You understand? You did that. That's why Dr. King said he realized that he marched his people into a burning house. And then when he started coming to that realization of what really took place, they killed them. And who set him up to be killed? The other Negro pastor that was right next to him. So miss me with this race war bullshit. Gotta be kidding me. So what happens now when in this day of age there's protesting going on? They hire crisis actors to infiltrate the crowd to start throwing bricks and all these things because only during acts of violence are the police and security guards allowed to physically interact with you. If there isn't any, they're supposed to leave you alone and let you go on your way. So you see these people doing this here. and going down to the Capitol and these things. They didn't come into your neighborhood. They went straight to the source. Straight to the source. You don't do that. You go to shut down highways. You go to shut down bridges. You go to shut down tunnels. And these people have insurance. They don't care. They don't care. Look, when will you ever see something like this again? Look at this brother. You know where he's at? He's in the Capitol building. You see what that is in his hand? Do you see anybody coming to say, yo, let's take this away from them? No. Because it's open carry. And they're peacefully protesting. Peacefully lobbying. And then you have this shenanigan here with the agent. This guy here, which is an hired crisis actor. This here. And then they put on the Trump hats to take pictures so you can say, but he dressed just like the Simpsons character back in the early 90s. Ain't I seen that this is fake? This is all an act. And what is this for? It's to take away the Constitution. See, Joe Biden and everybody else can scream, I will not violate the Constitution, but they have proxies, psyops exercise going on out there to convince you to give up your constitutional rights. They don't need to come and take it from you. You're giving it up. You're going to give it up. That's what you've been doing. You've gave it up. So once you gave it up, you can no longer go out there and scream, well, I have rights. No, you don't. You gave it away. And let's forget the constitutional rights for a moment. You gave away the rights that you were born with, that the Most High gave you, when you kept being dependent on another person to come and fix your shit. You gave it up. No politics, man. If you have Democrats and Republicans, none of that shit should matter. What should matter is who is coming to do the job correct. Who? It doesn't matter if they're a Republican or a Democrat. You shouldn't even have different parties anyway. It should just be a person coming to run for a position in office. And if that person means good for the people. But once you have two different fractions, Democrats, Republican, JLP, PMP, once you have these type of things, you always have people going against each other and not looking at the bigger picture. You understand? I shouldn't have to be here and then teaching my child to, if I'm a Democrat, teaching my child to be a Democrat, and then their children to be Democrats and Democrats and Democrats, and only vote because that's my party, even if the person is a jacked up individual that I'm voting for, because that's my party. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all crazy, right? Y'all see this? Look at these. Look at this. You will never see these things again happen. You know why? Because you gave up those rights. New Jersey and New York tell you that they have gun laws. There's no gun law. Okay? The Constitution says that you have the right to bear arms. That's the law. The law says you have the right to bear arms. The law never said you're supposed to go get a permit. The law never said you're supposed to go ask permission from your mayors or your governors. And in New Jersey and New York, they have it rigged, because if you don't know, if you're not a former officer or some form of state worker, National Guard member or former National Guard member, or know someone in politics, they won't let you get your gun license. They'll stall you for years. That's when people talk about illegal firearm. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as an illegal firearm. Pay attention, man. If when you don't know history, you fall for anything that to pass off with their dumbass ideology because they are too afraid to learn the information or know the information. Period. That's it. You understand? Do your due diligence to do the research. Do your due diligence to know law, to know these documents. Because when it's gone and it's taken away from you, it's going to be the man on the land. Man have dominion, but the Most High is sovereign. I just gave you something right there. The only sovereign is the Most High, is the Creator. And what the Creator, when the Creator created all of this, the Creator said, I'm leaving this to you to be in charge of. So man have dominion off the land, on the land. Understand? So if you are indigenous from this land, then nothing that is foreign to you has dominion over you. But when you gave up that identity to be classified as a citizen or a black person, you gave up your indigenous identity. When you made another man come and tell you that we're all from Africa and this is the transatlantic slave trade, and you never went and looked into your own family history, you gave up all of those rights. You gave it up. Okay? And no, I'm not sitting here telling you to go do some ancestry DNA test because that doesn't tell you who your great great grandmother was, your great 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 grandfather was, your great 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 grand cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. were. Only thing they're going to do is throw your ass into West Africa somewhere. When you're going to do your family search, you do your genealogy, the paperwork, the halls of records. They have your stuff. You're from the islands, they have your records in the islands. They have it in Europe. They have it in South America. And they have it in Northern America. Your documentations. They have them in the Netherlands. They have them in Scotland, in Britannia, in Germany. They have them in Spain. Okay? So DNA tests don't give you what those documentations give you. Those documentations give you the names of your ancestors. They give you the names of how they're connected to your forefathers and mothers, to your parents. Okay? Pay attention. Understand what you're doing. Don't let fear let someone take away your rights. Or matter of fact, don't let fear let you give up your rights. Okay? The next live that I do, we're going to break down more on the vaccines, right? And we're gonna go more into the vaccines. We're gonna show another more in-depth history, right, of the vaccine and of the supposed COVID virus, right? Because now people are saying, "Oh, I think it's airborne. It's airborne, man. It's airborne," and something out there's killing these people. Bad health, underlying ailments. What is an underlying ailment? It means the person was already sick before. That's what it means. The person had something, probably diabetes, heart issues. People who's talking about shortness of breath, they're smokers, chain smokers, heavy smokers. Okay? They smoked. They used to smoke. Folks who has asthma. Folks who even probably even once had an asthma attack. All right? Wake up. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. That conversation with my in-law and my mother, it was just like, and I'm looking at them like I can't, like, and some of the things that they say. Oh yeah, we know, but we just can't bother with it. Then don't sit here and try to debate me on something that you just admitted that you know that they're just trying to take away your rights. They said that. They said that. So you understand in life when you have people that are fearful, when you have people that are willing to be submissive and you're not, they'll do everything they can within their spirit to try to make you become fearful and submissive just like them. Because for the life of them, they can't understand why you're fighting it. Why not just go along with the go along? But it don't work like that. Some people are fighters and some people are just cowards. Or some people just feel like, well, they're up in age. They're tired of the fight. They don't want to fight no more. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Yeah. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to go make me some edible delights. But I'm gonna get up out of here. I just everyone stay safe. Continue to do your research. Continue to study. Just continue to look into your family history. Okay. Just continue to do that. And again, I know some of y'all saw the post that I put up when I said what is the Indian? Well, the Indian is a corporate construct. The Indian is a reset. The Indian is a part of the reset story because the Indian is a reset. What were you before you were called Indian? Let's start digging and going further back now. Okay, but that's for another time. That's going to be on the That's something that's going to be on the podcast. American Arawaks, honor, brother, honor. Um, don't forget. I think this Sunday, bro, we're going to come and introduce the podcast. Yeah, so get ready. All right, be ready. Be ready. I'm gonna call you when I get off here anyway. But yeah, okay. So where everyone, man, just stay safe, be safe. You know, check out American Arawak's platform because he has a lot of information that I think everyone can benefit from on his platform when it comes to these legalities. Okay. So, just, yeah, man, he's helped. There's a few people that I know that he's helped. You see what I'm saying? That his information that he has on his platform has helped. And if you don't understand something, don't be afraid to reach out and ask him a question or two. All right. So, yeah, man. Honor, Lacona. Honor, brother. All right. But with that being said, because in the times that we're heading in, the information that he has is what you need to start knowing now. If you're not looking to build um your clan, if you're not looking to build to secure your estate, if you're not looking to do these things, then his channel is not for you. You see what I'm saying? If you're looking to stay lost in oblivion, then be that way. All right. But all right, y'all, I'm out. Peace, peace.